Hello and welcome to another episode of Film Freaks with a Z, the podcast all about movies. Each episode is about a single episode, which we will, not a single episode, a single movie, which we'll get to in a little bit. But first, it's time for the fan vote, which actually hasn't happened in a little while since episode 100 was the Jurassic Park trilogy. So what do we got on the ballot for today? Well, we got This is Spinal Tap, which was recommended by Topos last time he was on the podcast. Multiplicity, which is a new recommendation from Maztech Gaming. Hard Boiled, which was given to us by Antiskew. And Food Fight, which was given to us by Squid Daddy, formerly known as a Retro Fellow. So if you want to vote for one of those movies, head over to either my Twitter account at Yemmy the Ferret to vote there, or head over to the Discord and vote with the emojis there. Just an FYI, for future votes, everything will be moving over to Discord, especially if Twitter starts having you pay for things like tweeting. So if you want to continue voting on the fan vote, just click the link in the description of my videos, and you will be brought to the Ferret Nation Discord where you can keep voting. All right, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves before we talk about the movie. I am Yemmy the Ferret, and I'm here with...
I am Greedy Waffles.
Taymation.
Ray positivity.
Howdy, folks. How are we all doing today?
Hello.
Howdy.
Doing all right.
Doing
Pretty good.
well.
Pretty good.
It was a Cleveland Browns win today, so,
Let's
riding the
go.
roller coaster of sports.
And guess who picked them to win? Ayo.
Yeah, we did too.
Yeah.
We actually had some faith in the organization for once in our lives.
I feel that. As a Jets fan, I feel that.
I didn't pick them to win,
Ah,
but I didn't pick them to lose either. So
It balances out.
Hey.
yeah.
Well, since Tay has no love for the sport of football, let's just go ahead and talk about the movie.
that's what I do have love for.
Yeah, Tay, introduce the movie for us.
All right. So the movie I picked was The Host from 2006. So I hope you guys watched the right one because there is a Host from 2013. Has nothing to do with this movie. It was directed by Joon-Ho, who we've watched a fair amount of his movies now on this podcast.
At least two. Well, three now.
Yeah. So, following the dumping of gallons of toxic waste in the river, a giant mutated squid-like creature appears and begins attacking the populace. Gangdu's daughter, Hyun-seo, is snatched up by the creature with his family to assist him, and he sets off to find her. It is featuring people that I'm probably going to butcher their names. We got Song Kang-ho, Byun Hee-bong, Park Hae-il, Bae-duna, Ko A-sung, and many, many others that, again, I'm going to just keep butchering their names if I try. So, to start off the conversation, I'm not 100% sure. Like, the big thing I want to talk about is kind of the ending, which we'll get to later. So, let's start with, how do you guys feel about, like, just getting to see the monster outright in broad daylight? For most monster movies, you don't get that until the end. So what do you guys think of that?
I
Better
was
than
shocked.
Godzilla. Right?
Right.
Yeah, at times it felt like I was playing a PS3 game, but it didn't.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the,
Monster was a little rough on the edges.
yeah,
but
the CGI doesn't necessarily hold up super well.
But I was about to say it doesn't look bad. It just kind of looks
No.
like a video game at times.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, this is not about the CGI. This is just the fact that, they took a monster movie and then he's like, but instead of hiding it, I'm just going to show it.
Yeah, I feel
What'd
like
you-
I just
what'd-
got settled in, and I was like, all right, like, let's watch this movie. Then, boom, it was like right there. I was like, oh, okay, we're just going after it. All right, let's go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not
That
a
was
lot of
crazy.
monster movies are gonna have the balls to just show the monster outright almost from the get go. And I do like that little bit of build up you have where the doctor who is also the guy in the Walking Dead TV show tells the other guy to dump all the toxic chemicals into the water, and then you get the fishermen who capture the baby version of the monster, and it gets away,
Mhm.
and yeah, they just kind of it's also in like a very in like a very obvious spot underneath that bridge, kind of like in a cocoon almost or whatever
Yeah.
when it starts
Yeah.
off. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it was a crazy opening sequence that you don't really see in too many monster movies.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think Bong Joon-ho definitely decided to like, no, we're gonna I'm gonna flip monster movies on their head and we're showing it. And I feel like that's kind of his style with all his other movies. Is he, takes a genre and then he just changes things in a way that you're just like, oh, okay then. Um. So yeah, obviously, like I said, the CGI doesn't necessarily hold up great. Um.
I mean, it's good enough at times.
Yeah,
Like there are
for
times
sure.
where it's a little bit rough, but I feel like for the most part it looks fine. Not anything super amazing anymore, I guess you would say, but I think it looked
Yeah.
fine for the most part.
Yeah.
For sure, for sure. It definitely does have a PS3 feel. I mean, this is right around the time the PS3 came out.
Also,
So
they
it
probably
lines
used
up.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that multi-chip system really helped them out here.
Well, when you see it from like when it's running like almost at a distance, you can definitely tell like, okay, like this is some very new CGI. But I was really interested like when the monster was behind them, like chasing them. Like that was actually really good CGI. I was actually really impressed with that. I thought it was gonna look way more green screeny, like you could tell, the distance, and like you could see the outline of them running like on the CGI monster.
Yeah.
But you couldn't, and I was impressed by that.
It's true. It did look better head on when it's behind them
Yeah.
than from the side.
And some of the practical stuff that happens, like when the monster jumps into the water, then the splash of water happens, or when people are just kind of tracking it with their eyes or their heads or something like that, it was pretty natural, and that's
Mhm.
something for
that sounds
the
good.
credit the director for, because that's just good directing there to make sure that what is happening in the real world is lining up with what's happening in the CG world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Attention
will
to
s-
details. Really
I will
good.
say when it's underwater and you just see like a blob of of like shadow, that didn't look good. But
Yeah.
Kind of looked like some diarrhea in the water,
yeah, that's it. It looked like there was something under the water. It just looked like they just took a shadow in After Effects and just popped it on the water. Yeah, good enough.
The black dye that they joke about when you pee in a pool, that's what it was.
Oh yeah.
Well, at the end, he was not fully submerged, so they dodged that bullet.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, yeah. And what did you think of just the cast? I guess the characters. We're introduced to what did I say his name was? Yeah, Gong Du. He's just always sleeping.
He plays a
But
good deadbeat.
yeah, I mean that's usually what he does. Plays in these movies, right?
Yeah, we've
Some-
watched 3 movies with him in it, and he's usually the deadbeat guy. Yeah.
Yeah, either deadbeat or a drug addict. Because in Snowpiercer, he's super smart, but he's a drug addict.
Right. But he gets past like the security gate or something that gets him into the
Yeah.
train, so kind of redemption arc there, I guess. Yeah, I don't know if he has like a redemption arc per se in this movie, but I think that all the characters are fairly well acted, and that's also another credit
Mhm.
to Bong Joon-ho for directing the characters and getting the right body language and vocal performance out of them.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point. Is the body language and just like the overall, just like the right type of group, I guess, for this type of movie.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah, even like
yeah.
the little girl, I don't know her name, but she wasn't in a lot of scenes, like just enough, but her maturity and the way that she she played like survival was really good in my opinion. I thought that she was a really good actress.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
credit to like the people who had the like I don't know if it's like the makeup artist, but whoever had like the sewage all over her, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, the whole
Definitely,
thing.
you could definitely not only could you like feel the griminess, like you could also like kind of smell the stench of those sewer scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did great. Even like when at the end their ears are bleeding. The one guy's puking up blood. That stuff was all really well done as well. So
Yeah,
props to the makeup crew.
for sure. And obviously, this whole movie, like it's kind of it points out like I guess how America kind of took over, like they not took over, but like culturally took over, I guess, South Korea after the Korean War.
I read that it was based on a true story where a U.S. official was demanding Koreans to dump formaldehyde into the drains, which led into the Han River. Like it
Yeah,
was actually based on a true story, just not the monster
yeah.
part.
Well,
The
that part
toxic
would
waste
suck.
part, which
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Which it actually reminds me of a story from like local from where I'm from, where they were dumping chemicals into the river, and they did a study from basically from the U.S. to like all around the world, like I think as far as like Africa, and they found those chemicals in everybody's bloodstream. So it not
Mhm.
only affected like where I'm from in West Virginia, it affected the entire world, and it's just crazy how that can, you know, cause
Yeah.
a worldwide phenomena.
Well, like I mean, at this point, we all have microplastics in our body.
Yeah.
So, and before that, it was lead, and before that, it was actually no, it was something before and then lead. Before that,
Moral of the story, we're all toxic in some way.
yeah, yeah. Corporations are ruining everything. In this case, in the movie, I guess the military.
Yeah. Dang
Um,
US.
yeah, dang U.S. for sure. Um, so I feel like it's hard to talk about this movie without just like because like, everything just kind of builds up towards the end. So it's like I feel like any topic like immediately you have to talk about how it all comes together at the end.
Yeah. Well, I like
Um,
the music. The composer, I looked him up too. Byung-woo Lee is his name. I thought that was fantastic because it's very subtle, but like enough to like it's subtle but intense in the best parts, and
yeah,
it was really beautiful. I
nice.
thought.
I didn't actually pay
I
attention
didn't.
much to
Yeah, I didn't
music.
really notice.
I'm a music nerd, so
Well,
I
that's
love
fair.
paying attention
Yeah.
Yeah,
to the
Yeah, I
composers.
thought the score was really good. There's just some times where like the music became almost carnival like,
Yeah.
and I understand like a lot of Bong Joon-ho's movies have like some sort of whimsical nature to them, kind of like a dark humor or black humor, whatever you want to call
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
And when the music started playing, that was kind of more bumpy and like carnival like. I don't know if it really
mhm,
fit with the scene. I mean, obviously this is an earlier movie by him. It's not his first, but it's one of the earlier ones, so he was definitely still formulating his style. Like you can see parts of like Parasite and Snowpiercer and stuff in some of the shot composition, in some of how the characters interact, in some of the musical choices for this movie. So it's definitely a nice peek into where he was before he really hit it off with the bigger movies in his filmography. I think that's what it's called.
yeah. Filmography.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did notice the music in the one scene where they're searching in the sewers for uh Hyunseo, and like just because it was very loud, and like the only reason I could tell they were shouting for her name was because I had because of the subtitles.
Yeah. I don't know. I could see it as like like you said, like dark humor, comedic relief type situation. But yeah, there's a time and a place for it. Not sure if he hit those in this movie.
It's almost there. It's like it's so close
Yeah.
to being like a funny moment, like they would do in Parasite or something. But Yeah, it didn't really work in this one. I don't think. I think this one needed a bit more of a serious overtone. Like even when like the parts that are maybe supposed to be kind of funny pop up, they kind of felt a little bit fragmented from the rest of the movie in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
Like the part where they're all crying and bawling over the picture and like the cameras come
Yeah.
in. Like I feel like that moment should have been taken a bit more seriously then, but maybe that was just a bit of comedic relief to let off the gas on the a child's death, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
but not
Yeah,
really.
that part really confused me. I was like, this should be like a time of mourning and grief, and here's like this lady like parked her car in the wrong place, and like there's these reporters. I'm like, what is going on?
I think that was more just to show the chaos of like being forced into a shelter. But yeah, also
That's fair.
it was a little like that scene. I was just okay, yeah, what's going on? Why do we care about a lady who parked her car wrong? At first, I thought it was gonna be the uncle who like parked his car or something, but nope.
Me too. And I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna demonstrate, like who gives a flying F about the car that's parked in the wrong place. Like,
Yeah,
his
but nope,
daughter
it was
died. No.
some other ladies. Um, yeah, I do like, we're introduced to the whole family. The uncle's a drunk. We learn about when he went to school for Parent Day or whatever. The archer is just slow. They get that right there. It's like, oh, she's always so slow. And then he's always sleeping, and the dad is, I guess, just always dealing with all of them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, poor thing.
Yeah.
I love when he was like, you went to college? Like, you talked to him. He's like, what does college have to do with that? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
That was funny.
But yeah, I like, we see where they start, and I think they all have really good arcs, that come to the end where I guess we're going to talk about the end here.
Go for it.
Because I said this is like, I just love how it all comes together. We finally see the sister, I can't remember her name now. She's there at the right time with her bow and arrow
Mhm.
to shoot the thing in the eye, set on fire. Also, I just love that this hobo, he just randomly it's just like, I'm gonna dump gasoline on this.
Yeah.
Thought that was great. It's like, I'm here to help. It's like, I don't know who you are. We don't even have a name, but you're awesome.
We don't need one.
Oh man. Yeah. I thought the CGI for the fire was awesome. I thought they did a really good job with that.
I wonder if it was CGI. I mean, it must have been
Ooh.
obviously it was CGI when it was on, or at least composited when it was on the creature.
Yeah.
But he may have been throwing real Molotov cocktails.
I hope so.
I do too. Which I'm sure he learned in college.
To
Yes.
throw that bad, probably had to take a lot of takes.
Yeah.
'Cause he
I
was
love, and I just
bad
love,
throwing.
yeah, when he goes to throw the last one and just drops it behind him.
Yeah.
But it worked out because the archer was there and she took care of it.
I will say, even though I liked how everything came together, I feel like too many knockout scenes in the movie, like as a way to kind of make a character like unimportant for like part of the movie.
Yeah.
They just knock them out. Like the archer gets knocked out for the monster and wakes up like a whole day later or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And then she's like in the same predicament where the monster's running at her. I just kind of found that a bit bizarre. And then of course the uncle, he gets knocked out after finding the location of the little girl, and he
Yeah.
wakes up like a half day later. And the gang do he wakes, he gets put under for the lobotomy or whatever it was, and he gets knocked out a few times in the movie. Maybe choose a different way to, I don't know, progress
Make it so-
time or something.
Yeah.
No,
Make it
when
so
in doubt,
character-
knock him out.
You know what? Yeah. It's a nice way for to sideline a character for a little bit. You're saying, yeah, they're not doing anything because they're knocked out. It's fine. And I feel like the sister, she took a pretty big hit, so she definitely would have been out for at least for a day.
Yep.
Although I kind of wonder at one point, I'm like, did she just? Same with the brother when theirs were like because they fell like far. I'm like, so did they just die here
Yeah.
or?
Yeah. Well, there's a couple characters who you think that they're dead, and then they wake up randomly.
Yeah,
Which
like the little boy.
yeah, like they make a big stink about the yellow gas like being harmful to young children, and the little
Yeah.
boy is just fine. You just
Yeah.
shake him a couple times, he's fine.
Well, he
Smack
was,
him around a little bit,
he was barely breathing, so he didn't breathe in a lot of the toxic gas
I suppose.
because he was unconscious.
Yeah.
And they were inside the monster when the first initial blast
Yeah.
came, but it blasted like 3 times.
Yeah.
And then he was walking away with them and was blasting again.
Yeah.
But if it knocks out the monster, wouldn't it knock out them too?
Well, it
But
didn't knock out the monster. It just kind of
It
made him
hurt it.
stumble a little bit.
Yeah, he didn't like it. He didn't like it for sure.
Well,
And
give
it
him no
was-
time for the guy to go digging in there. So
Yeah. Well, and like, yeah, I mean, it was specifically engineered, to attack whatever the monster was made out of.
Didn't really work out that well anyway.
Yeah.
So was that whole like thing at the end to set up for the monster, or
Well, they were gonna release the yellow gas, no matter what.
yeah, on the protesters, right?
Well, they weren't gonna use it on the protesters. They were just there to protest the use of the gas.
Yeah. But it was, they were just going to spray the river area, which would,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it created another monster. So maybe when the very end you see him going, "Whoa, is that a monster coming out?" It's like this is an Agent Yellow monster. It's slightly different.
Well, there was a mutated fish that popped off of the monster,
Yeah.
which sets up for a sequel, which we probably won't get at this point. But
Yeah.
they made
Well,
sure that they made
the
sure
whole
the show.
2015, right?
Well, this came out in 2006, so
Yeah.
It's
So
been-
in 2026, that's
Yeah.
when it'll come out.
on the
20 years later.
20-year anniversary.
Yeah. They got to wait till the kid grows up because the kid has to deal with it.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
That's also another allegory for real
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next generations have to deal with the previous generation's shit.
And he's also making some other baller movies, so
Yeah. For sure.
he's keeping himself busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find it kind of interesting how the monster kind of works, where it it snatches up people, and sometimes it eats them, and sometimes it throws them into the gutter or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I find it kind
for
of
later eat consumption.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he ate a lot of human beings on that first initial wave of attack, because all those
Yeah.
bones eventually spit out of him.
Yeah. All the people in that trailer that got walked in with him.
Yeah, that was it. And I don't know. I just feel like it's just kind of weird how the monster kind of operates. Kind of comes and goes, comes and goes. I don't know. I was kind of like scratching my head a few times with how it worked. It wasn't too. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
Well, there's another monster that does that in a different movie, and I cannot think of what it is though. Like, it doesn't eat all of them at once. It like saves a few for later, and
Yeah.
it's so creepy. And like, I think that's also what kind of like gets your heart racing when he comes back, and like, like, oh, is he gonna eat somebody? Is he gonna throw somebody else down here? Like, what's gonna happen? Also, can we talk about the acrobat moves that this monster could do? Just like swinging, and oh my gosh, when I saw that, I was like, that's really interesting, because you don't normally see like monsters that flexible.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of a cool twist.
Yeah, it definitely like has some monkey traits to it,
Yeah.
but it's like purely of the river.
I liked that.
Well, it's
I
kind
thought
of.
that was
I guess it's kind of more like a almost like a salamander or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe an
Oh,
axolotl got the toxic dump. on it.
Maybe. Either way, I've never seen an axolotl or a salamander move like that.
That's
True.
true.
Well, there was a monkey by the side of the river that was eating salamander, and the axolotl was chilling there, and
And all
When
three got
the-
formaldehyde.
and a squid came by, and the monkey reached into the water and fell in, and the formaldehyde was right there, and
They all loved each other very, very much, and when that happens, there's a baby.
well, I was gonna say it's kind of like the end of that one SpongeBob episode where Squidward forms with all the other characters in the episode, and he's like, "Oh, it all started when I was born."
I was not allowed to watch SpongeBob when I was younger, so I've only
Really?
seen like a few episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, I've only seen a few episodes too because it came out when I wasn't a child when it came out, so I didn't really watch it.
I was.
But-
That's just a baby.
Just a baby.
Particularly, like the first 3 seasons of SpongeBob are worth it. The episode I'm talking about, I think, doesn't happen until like the 4th season, which is kind of where it starts to go downhill. But yeah, whatever.
As most shows do.
Yeah.
But there is a part where like I think they're using like some sort of like transporter ray or something like that, and it malfunctions, and everyone's inside of like an auditorium, and every single character just gets combined into one hellish ball of
Jeez.
characters, and yeah, they couldn't write themselves out of that one, so the next episode they're all just normal again.
Oh man.
Which is what happened for this monster. they
Yeah.
they all formed, and they were like, it doesn't matter how, it just
Yeah.
all
Which
that
is
matters
what I
that
kind-
there's a creature.
Which is what I kind of thought when you see the fish fall off of it. Like I was just like, oh, that was just one of the creatures that like formed into this. It popped off.
Yup.
It's just a normal fish now. Just
Now.
like, oh, I'm back to being a fish. That was weird.
That was weird. Hey guys, you'll never guess what happened to me.
Oh,
For a little
man,
bit, I
imagine
was
being the fisherman catching that fish and frying it up.
Oh jeez.
Formaldehyde fish.
Delicious.
It's a little bitter, but
Just a little. Ugh.
so going
So-
back to it. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, you go ahead. I don't have anything to
Well, I was going back to the lobotomy or whatever you want to call it when they couldn't put Gang. What's his name? Gang.
Yeah, gang do.
To sleep. Just a very odd sequence of events there. Like I understand like the American doctor coming in and being like, "Oh, he's delusional. He's got the virus," but then he admits like there's actually no virus. I guess to operating on him is just to keep up appearances, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I don't really understand what they did exactly, seeing as he's still functioning after.
Yeah, they
The whole
didn't
ordeal.
lobotomize him. They just I don't know, they just took a a small little brain sample to see if there was a virus, even though he knew there wasn't.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Don't they all? No.
Sounds like Western medicine.
I also find it funny how incompetent like every single staff member or military official or police officer is in this movie.
Seriously.
They can't catch
though.
anything. They can't catch anyone.
Yeah.
They can't track anyone.
I mean, everyone's incompetent in this movie. Like even our heroes are incompetent.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, the scene where the shotgun actually doesn't have one shell
Yeah.
is a pretty
Oh,
obvious
yeah.
example there.
Yeah.
Counting. Oh no, I just killed my father. Just like I killed my daughter by not grabbing the right hand. Oh. He just can't do anything right. By the end, he finally see that he got rid of those ugly highlights.
Right.
And he's like, oh, he is competent now. He finally learned.
He finally learned.
Yeah, unlike most movies like this, where the main protagonist will dye their hair after going through an ordeal, this guy
Yeah.
loses the dye.
Yeah.
I
He's
harken
already
back to
gone through
Squid
enough.
Game
He's
for
like,
that
you
one.
know what? I need to
Yeah.
be normal again.
Yeah,
Well, now he has
K-pop
to
won't
he
come
has to
around.
run he has to run the shop now. He's not just helping his dad. He's in charge now.
Oh,
I guess so, yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah. So they didn't make it clear. So was Gangdu just like a half sibling to the other two? Because they made it sound like his mom died, or is he supposed to be the youngest?
I thought that he was the youngest.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Because he kind of with the I don't know, just with the dyed hair and stuff, it actually made him look older.
I guess it
Yeah.
does a little bit.
Because it was a style from the late '90s. So you're just like, oh well, if he's doing it, he was a child or a teenager in the '90s.
Yeah, I guess
But-
so.
But yeah, I guess I don't know. Maybe he was supposed to be the youngest.
Well, I feel like he is because the other two, I think they were like already out of the house when Gang Do was born, which is why his father blames himself for going out and drinking and not being there for his development.
Yeah. Which all the drinking would make sense. Wife died, then he just goes out and drinks and doesn't take care of the last kid.
Yeah. It's sad.
That happens.
It does. All too often.
Okay.
Well,
I
one
didn't
of my-
realize in
What was that?
Letterboxd you can highlight the actors' names and it'll tell you the character they are.
Oh yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
All right. So it's Namju was the sister's name. That's right.
Yeah, she appears in Squid Game. She's the
Yeah.
one lady who appears and she pretends to be pregnant or something like that.
I haven't seen Squid Game.
All right, never mind. I will zip my lips then. You should definitely watch that. It's pretty good.
I was planning on watching it at some point.
Oh, it's good and disturbing.
Watch it before Netflix is $25 a month.
No,
Or watch it.
yeah.
I thought you were gonna say watch it before Netflix American
Just
version.
move it.
Oh,
Oh.
no.
Yeah.
You mean the Jake Paul version? No. Or no, it's Mr. Beast, wasn't it?
Mr. Beast did a video for it, and then Netflix was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, that was a good idea. We should do American version." So here we go. It didn't really work out with Old Boy, but it'll work out with Squid Game. I'm sure of it.
Oh gosh, when you Americanize something like that, it more than likely will never go as you plan it to.
No, I mean
Yeah.
just look at the American version of The Host. No, I'm kidding. Completely different movie.
Completely different movie, which is
That's why-
also not a bad movie.
Yeah, I haven't
I've
seen
never
it.
watched it.
I wouldn't really recommend it, but also it's not that bad.
Wouldn't recommend it,
Yeah.
but it's not that bad.
That's probably one of those movies.
For a Stephanie
you watch
Meyer
once,
book / movie.
It wasn't it didn't have that. A lot of people probably worry that it's Twilight type feel to it. It does not.
Yeah.
The only thing that does have a Twilight feel to it is the fact that there's one girl and then she's trying to decide between two guys. I'm like, can we
Oh, yeah.
stop that narrative, please? Good gravy.
Do
Actually,
they don't say their entire name when a character's talking to one another. Yeah, I've read Twilight.
Wow. What did you think of Twilight?
The book was terrible. The movie, passable at best.
That's fair.
It's I've seen the first movie. I don't know if I would
Well-
consider it passable.
Nah, you
the
can't-
first
you
movie
cannot.
is a cinematic masterpiece. Okay,
So bad.
it's so bad that's
It's
good.
not
though.
good.
No.
It's-
We'll talk
Like,
about
I've-
Twilight eventually
I've
down
watched-
the road.
As I've watched Rift Track's version of it, and it was still really hard to watch.
Like
My
we'll
favorite
talk-
one started Eclipse, and you go on. So Eclipse, Breaking Dawn Part 1, and then Breaking Dawn Part 2. Those are the best.
Well, let's put a pin in this conversation because there is a fan vote recommendation for Twilight that'll be happening next time. There's
Oh.
a fan vote. So
Ayo.
let's just put a pin in this, and we'll get back to Twilight eventually down the road.
Okay.
Now everyone's gonna vote for Twilight.
I thought everyone was going to vote for it the first time around, honestly.
Dang.
But
So sorry, I was just looking at Bong Joon-ho's movies, and we kept saying Host was one of his earlier ones. It is not. He had 8 before The Host.
Oh, wow.
some of them are short films, though.
Yeah. I'm sure. Actually, technically 9 because there's the untitled animated film he did.
Other movie, we got Snowpiercer, and what's the other one?
Parasite.
Parasite?
Parasite.
Parasite, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
And I think I've had Okja in my like to watch list for a while.
Yeah, same here. Down the
And
road
then
eventually.
Mickey 17, I guess, comes out next year. Interesting.
Looks like it has wow, what a roundabout way. It
Yeah.
looks like it has the
It has the Twilight guy, Robert
yeah,
Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson in it.
Or sorry, the
Heyo.
Batman guy.
The
The
Batman.
Batman guy.
The Batman.
Yeah, he's no longer Twilight.
Or Cedric.
You gotta
Diggory.
start somewhere, and he had a
Yeah.
rough start for his
Yeah.
acting arc, but it all came together once The Lighthouse came out, and he
Yeah.
did a good job in Batman. So
Actually, I saw a meme, I think yesterday, that was like Robert Pattinson to get the role, like the gritty, depressed role of the Batman, put 14 years through Twilight to get him there,
yeah,
just to make sure he could get that depressed look right.
maybe he just did a marathon of all the movies to get super depressed.
Nah, he just watched the first one for 24 hours straight.
He just stared at a photo
He
of
just
the
ha-
CGI baby they made for him. and
Oh
Bella.
God,
Wow.
Renesmee.
Nah, just being in it was enough. Oh, a kitty.
I'm sorry, that was Tyson.
That's fine.
Special guest.
Yeah, special guest podcast featuring.
Tyson the kitty.
He's very excited.
Getting back on topic though, one of my favorite scenes in this movie was the one where they all start eating at the table, and I don't know what it is about Asian cuisine in general that I love the vibe that happens when people just start eating. You know,
Yeah.
obviously there's a
Yes.
place for it because mukbang became so popular,
Yeah.
but there's just a vibe that happens when a bunch of people are eating some Asian cuisine.
I agree with you completely.
Yeah.
It's almost like satisfying to watch, and like I don't know why necessarily. It's just like, like everything is packaged differently, but it looks really good.
Well,
I don't know.
I just it's a small table and they're just sharing, like
Yeah.
feeding each other a little bit, like, oh, here, try this. And, it just seems it's just very not just friendly, but like it just feels like, you're like, yeah, this is great, warm and friendly and welcoming.
I
It's
think I
nice.
mean I think I said the same thing about Parasite too. Maybe I didn't, but there was a scene where they were all eating, and it was a vibe there too. Maybe Bong Joon-Ho is I mean I mean I guess you can say he's pretty good at the shooting, just kind of like talking around a table with food kind of scenes. I think that's like a big staple of his directing ability.
Maybe he has a
Yeah.
passion for it, like you guys.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Well,
just like,
That's fair.
it's like watching a Studio Ghibli film.
Yeah, you can compare it to that, sure.
Is that Ghibli, not Ghibli?
Ghibli, I'm not 100% sure
Tomato,
Oh,
tomato.
on the
you know?
correct.
I was like, oh my gosh, I've been saying it wrong for so many years now.
I think I've heard, like, I think I used to say Ghibli, but I think it is Ghibli.
Interesting.
But
Huh.
I'm not 100% sure. So
Well, we will figure
My
that
God.
out.
GIF or GIF?
Oh,
yeah.
oh, don't get me started.
Grima Wormtongue or Grimmeth Wormtongue? No, that's
Oh, God, oh gosh.
uh, that's just
Okay.
yeah, that was just me being stupid.
So I looked it up because I was curious. Song Kang-ho is 10 years older than his brother in real life. And yeah, so he was born in 67. The brother was born in 77. And I think the sister was 79, if I remember right.
In terms of the movie, it wouldn't make sense for him to be older than his other two siblings, though.
Right? I know. Unless, like I said, they're like half siblings.
I mean, it's possible. Maybe the other two had
Yes.
a different mother.
Yeah, she was born in 79. He was born in 77.
Maybe it's a situation like in Greece where like a 30-year-old man's playing a teenager. You know?
Yeah.
I found that
Or
out
may-
with the first Halloween movie too. They were all like in their 20s and almost 30s playing
Yeah.
high
Oh,
schoolers.
that's how. Yeah, most movies that's the case.
Yeah.
Like if you look at the original Spider-Man, they're all supposed to be in high school, and they're like, yeah, 27-year-old definitely looks like they're in high school.
Oh yeah, for sure. For the 7th time.
Which is why it's weird when you see actual high schoolers. You're like, why do they look like babies?
Yeah.
Because you're used to Hollywood, where they're like, well, we don't want to pay for children actors, like where we have to, school them and stuff. So
Right.
It is a bit of a
27-year-old.
hassle, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so now I'm interested. It's like, yeah, because he definitely, like I said, I think he looks older than the other two for sure, and he is. So I'm just like, is he a half brother? Is he an adoptive brother? Is he, or yeah, they just doing a Grease thing where they're like, yeah, he's the youngest.
I guess I really didn't pay attention to that while I was watching it.
Yeah, which is fair. Like
Yeah.
it was just when he was talking about like his childhood and stuff. I was like, wait, what's the relationship then?
That's why I figured that he was supposed to be the youngest. I mean, usually
Yeah.
it's the youngest who is dyeing their hair, or hey, maybe he's going through a midlife crisis and he wants to dye his hair. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to say though.
Dye it
Yeah.
back.
Anyways, sorry. I mean, I guess it's on topic a bit, but
It's more on topic than talking about Twilight.
that's fair. Now, it's a point. I'm going to bring up a point here that Yemmy's usually brings up.
Uh-oh.
I feel like the child actors did really good.
Yeah, they were fine.
I
Yeah.
do.
Good. Yeah.
I didn't have any problems with either of the child actors. I just had a problem with how
Yeah.
the monster was like operating. That was my main issue.
Yeah. Well, I think
Yeah.
he would eat a bunch, then suck some people up, and then spit them out, and it just most of them obviously died from that.
Well,
But-
going back to that point, like towards the end when he's still in his little cocoon thing and the kids haven't gotten eaten yet, like she throws like something at the monster
A
or
beer can.
yeah,
Yeah.
she just gets picked up, or no, the monster ignores it and then she gets picked up and then put back down and then attacked. It's just like, what?
Yeah, that was weird. I didn't
Yeah,
really
'cause-
understand that.
Yeah, at first you're just like, oh, okay. He's just like, no, you're my later snack. You can't escape. And then suddenly he's like, actually, you know what? I'm hungry now.
And then he goes
Actually.
attacks he's like, you know what? I'm still hungry.
Yeah.
It's like getting that first ship and then you go back for more. You're like, you
Yeah.
know what? Things are actually good.
Yeah. My wife brought it up where she's just like, if she had just waited a half hour more.
Yeah, because the other guy shows up.
Yeah. Although then it would have played out very differently because the monster would have been down there.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, and he didn't have a shotgun at that point.
Also, did the tunnel that they were hiding in not lead anywhere? Like.
Yeah.
I feel
Right?
Yeah, I
like
think it was just an overfill for like the sewers.
maybe. It looked pretty long, and it looked like there was an exit on the other end, but maybe it was just the light playing tricks on it. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know how the sewers work in South Korea.
Yeah.
I barely know how the sewer works here.
Well, you see the poop and shit and piss.
Yeah, that's the only part I know.
You flush it down the toilet and you forget about it.
Yeah, it goes down into the sewer, and then other people who it's their job deal with it.
Yeah.
They know what to do with it. They know how the sewers work.
It's a great
That's their
lesson.
job. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know how the sewers work there either.
Oh,
I
man.
also I feel like going back to the child acting, I feel like maybe it's just a writing thing. The little boy didn't really seem to care that his brother was gone or whatever. I mean, you never really see him. I guess he
Well-
never saw that his brother was dead or anything like that.
Yeah, he
but-
doesn't
Yeah.
think his brother died, and it wasn't technically his brother. It was just another homeless child who, they
Oh.
adopted each other,
I
kind of
thought,
thing.
yeah, I thought it was his brother. I guess not.
No, because he said I have a brother who's not my brother.
Okay. Yeah,
So at least that's how I read it as. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, it was, kind of an adopted brother situation where he's like, I'm going to take care of you because both of us have no parents.
yeah. Maybe it makes more sense in Korean. Maybe the
Yeah.
translation wasn't great there.
Yeah. Yeah. Wasn't 100% sure. But yeah, he never, she made sure he didn't, because I think he said at one point, it's like, yeah, my brother's out there still. And then she made sure he never saw that the brother was actually down here and dead. So, what'd you guys, I guess the final ending, what'd you think about her dying?
Surprising.
I was mad.
Yeah, I was not ready for that.
Yeah, it's surprising because a lot of horror movies and films like this, the kids always live. There's no fear that they're gonna die. Like maybe partial spoilers for the Evil Dead Rise, but the little girl in that movie from the get go, I knew she wasn't gonna die. Of course by the end she didn't die. Even though there's several situations she should have died in. Same thing here. They just have that child protection,
Yeah, exactly.
Like, not that I want to see dead kids, but like, there's some situations you're like, should be dead, should be dead, should be
Like,
fatally
there's no
wounded.
way.
Yeah. Well, even in this one, like, it almost seemed like, since the boy survives, like, she should have survived.
Yeah.
That is a
Unless-
good point.
Like, she would have had enough, she had her wits about her enough to grab onto, like, a thing so they didn't get fully digested.
Right.
And obviously, he lived, she was, kind of, wrapped around him, so he didn't get, I guess, the full digestive juices.
Or maybe the full yellow powder, whatever.
Yellow agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So, yeah. It was, I remember, like, the first time I saw this, going, like, I didn't like it as much the first time I saw it, I think, as this time.
I'll be honest, I was not excited to watch it. But I ended up liking it a lot more than I anticipated. So
That's good.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I was, like I said, it's not a traditional scary movie where, it's I don't think there's anything about it where you're like, jump scare. There's no jump scares.
Nah.
It's kind of like Jaws in a way.
It's
Yeah.
a thriller.
You get the thrill of like the humans getting decimated for like the part of the movie, and then you get the thrill of the hunt when they hunt down the beast.
Yeah.
But Jaws has some jump scares, though.
Did
It's
it?
well, I mean, there's one
Sorta.
when they're underwater in the boat, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not I'm not saying that it's like exactly like Jaws. It's just that it is sort of like Jaws in a lot of ways.
Mm.
Fun fact, the first time I ever saw Jaws was 2 months ago.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
saw it as a small child and was terrified of open water and that sharks were just going to be everywhere. And then I saw it again in like 7th grade and went, why was I afraid of this? That shark was so fake.
I haven't seen that movie in so long.
Yeah, that was the last time I saw it too, was 7th grade.
Yeah, when I think I told the story before, but when I was a kid, I was playing Roller Coaster Tycoon, and my mom's like, "Come here, you have to watch this movie," and I'm like, "Why?" And my mom still to this day does not know why she made me watch Jaws, but here we are.
Because it's a good movie.
I mean, it's a 5 out of 5 movie, but
Yeah.
maybe not
Yeah,
for
no,
a
a child,
8-year-old
no.
kid who wants to play Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Yeah. Definitely not.
I actually had a shark encounter when I was at the beach when I was oh my gosh, how old was I? 9? 10?
Well, that's scary.
Yeah, it was terrifying because like no one else was out there. It was a rainy day, so like no one was on the beach, and I was just like in the water playing.
Chilling.
And I turned around, and there was like I'd say probably about like a 2-foot shark. Like it was a baby one, but it was right there, and it was
It might
like
have been
opening its mouth, and I like bolted for our beach house, bawling, crying. No one believed me, and then the next morning there were 7 sharks outside of our beach house, just
Damn.
ours.
Were they
Yeah.
nurse sharks?
They what?
Were they nurse sharks?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think she got out her encyclopedia and
Yeah.
She should
looked,
have. Yeah, no,
looked up what kind of shark it was.
because I mean, yeah, nurse sharks. they're roughly 2 feet long, and they're harmless.
I mean, most sharks are technically harmless to
Harmless,
humans.
yeah.
It's just
Bull
when you
sharks
start
and
flipping
tiger
around
sharks.
like a
A seal.
injured fish, or if there's
Yeah.
chum in the water, of course.
Yeah.
You don't wanna
That
be
doesn't
around
help. I'm
Yeah.
looking him up right now, but
Yeah,
it
I
was
mean-
terrifying.
The latest statistic, this is way off topic, but the latest statistic is that sharks kill less people than car crashes and
And
Or
cows.
Yeah.
cows. Yeah,
They kill less
cows.
people than cows.
So, blame Jaws for that one.
Yeah, basically.
You know what? It was.
Yeah, they're harmless.
Oh my gosh. That was terrifying. Oh, I was so scared.
Well, for sure, as a small child, not knowing you're just seeing a shark. Yeah, for sure, terrifying. But yeah, no, nurse sharks. That's what they have at the Mandalay Bay Aquarium here in Vegas,
Ah,
and people go swimming with them all the time.
cute.
Yeah,
Well, I got to swim with them for free, so.
yeah, you did. Good job.
Take that, capitalism.
Yeah, capitalism. Fuck you. Yeah. Anyways, back to the movie.
Yeah, I will say there was a point when I had to look at how much time was remaining in the movie, and there was like 40 minutes left, and I felt like I felt a little bit of boredom creeping in. Luckily,
Yeah.
though, the end of the movie did bring it back around, but there was some time where I was
Yeah,
like, I feel like
For sure.
I felt like either we were just kind of like running in circles after the dad died. I felt like there was a lot of like wasted time in the movie.
Yes. Yeah.
But like I said, once
Yeah.
once the ending started coming together, it got back in my good graces.
For sure. And I definitely felt that a little bit too, where I was just like, are we almost done? Or yeah,
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
is.
dude.
It's a little longer than it needs to be, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only an hour and 40 minutes or something like that, right?
I thought it was
Is it?
closer to 2 hours.
Yeah, it's 1:59.
I mean, now we're in 40 minutes.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, 119 minutes. So
no matter how long a movie is, I think that there is always a argument to be made for trimming the fat on some movies.
yeah,
Like even some animated movies you feel like should be trimmed down, even though they're like an hour and 20 minutes long or something like that.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I guess it's just a per movie basis, I guess.
Yeah, I agree.
And this one definitely
Yeah.
needed some fat trimming around the edges, but not a lot because there is a lot of good stuff here. But
yeah.
Yeah.
there were
sure.
some things I felt like either could have been paced a little bit quicker, or cut out. Maybe not cut
Mm.
out, but like just trimmed down.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Well, have we talked about everything we want to talk about?
I think so.
Oh. I do like the final scene, like I said, where they all come together. I do like that you see Gangdu gets another sign, breaks off the concrete so he can actually wield it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was satisfying to see him just come around the corner and swing it right into the thing's mouth and kill it.
Yeah, that was his canon moment,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so good. So good.
That's good.
I liked,
Okay.
even though it was pretty obvious that it was coming up, I liked the part where he was trying, the uncle was trying to track down the phone signal. And,
Yeah,
like, there's a bunch of people waiting for him to get the bounty for capturing him.
yeah.
I like that sequence.
Well, it's just the one guy his friend who turned him in gets the bounty. The rest of them were all workers and just incompetent as hell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they surround him and they still can't.
I
take
like
him.
that, like, he warns them carefully. He's tricky. And then when you see him getting away, the friend's just like, hell yeah, you got away, and I still get the the reward. Pay off all my debt.
Yeah. I also obviously this movie came out way before COVID. And I think we had a similar conversation when we watched Carriers. The mask stuff, like people just like taking off their mask and
Oh
doing
yeah.
whatever. Like not
Yeah.
a lot of people who are like the medical people too were like just taking it off and stuff.
Yeah. This movie definitely hits differently after the pandemic.
But it's not terrible like Carriers was, so there's
Yeah. That there is that.
Yeah, I just found it funny how like the one guy, he takes off his mask to spit a loogie into the
Yes.
gutter or whatever, and the doctor, who's still afraid of like a virus being there, he like takes off his mask to examine Gang Dude,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, kind of realistic though, because even during COVID, not a lot of like there was still like plenty of people who improperly wore masks and took masks off. So I guess
Yeah.
you know
Oh, yeah.
it's realistic in a
Or
way.
didn't wear
It is
masks at all.
Yeah. It is realistic. Although for an Asian society, who they masked up before pandemics. At least I know Japan does. I just
Yeah, I think of that kind of as like a Japanese thing because even
yeah,
if you're like sick with a cold, you go out with a mask on, which is
exactly.
great. Wish we would do
It
I
it
is.
do
around
that
here
now.
because
Yeah.
I interact with so many people and I get sick from
Yep.
the one person who's like I gotta go to work.
Yeah.
Yep. There's always one.
There is always one, and I wish we were better as a society.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, maybe give us more than like one sick day a year. Like,
Yeah,
That would
be
that's
nice.
also true.
You get
yeah.
sick
Yeah.
days?
Capitalism also screwed that up for us.
Yeah.
that's another win for capitalism, folks. All right.
right.
Now, does anyone else have anything they want to say about the movie before we
No,
get to our
those were
final
those
thoughts?
were the two things I forgot that I wanted to bring up. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'll bring up new things during my review. No, I'm kidding.
You usually do.
Well, Tay, go ahead and take us away.
Oh yeah, I start off. That's
Oh, yeah.
right. So overall, like I said, I saw this movie in a film class back when I was in college. That was probably around 2010 or so. And I remember, like I said, liking it, but not as much as I did this time around. I think because I definitely could appreciate it a little more. And I think just the daughter dying is kind of what threw me off the first time. And I couldn't remember if she lived or died now, but either way, I was like, just like the arc of like this, it's more about I guess the adults, like their arcs and and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I appreciate that more. I think the acting was great. The cinematography was pretty good. Like I said, CGI didn't necessarily hold up as well, but for a 2006 movie, that you can expect that. That's expected.
Yeah.
So it didn't like hurt it in any way. And yeah, just showing the monster right at the get go, just like, nope, here it is. We're not hiding it. Get used to it. I liked that, and overall, yeah, I really liked this movie. Thought they did a good job. I'd give it a 4 out of 5.
I was pleasantly surprised. As I said, I was not really excited to watch it. I thought it was gonna be more of like a scary horror, like I was gonna see lots of blood and guts and nastiness, so I was like not prepared. I was not excited. I will be completely honest. But the more that I watched it, actually from the start, I'm not even gonna lie to you. From the start, I was like, yeah, all right. Like I can vibe with this for a while, and thought again, I thought the score was great. The acting was really good. CGI, yeah, for the time, I'll give for the time, it was not bad. Um, I do agree with Yemi in the fact that there were some parts that could have been left out, or like it could have been probably about 30 minutes shorter, to be fair. But all in all, I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 5.
Dang, all right.
Yeah.
Well, I found it relatively enjoyable for a monster movie that's not super well known. I felt like they did a pretty good job with the monster design and making sure that actors and actresses knew where the monster was at all times so that they could interact and make it feel authentic is the word I'm looking for. And yeah, I just like I mean even though it's not the best CGI in the world, it does hold up pretty well, all things considered, especially with it being mostly out in the daylight. So I'm not like super critical of that. The only thing I'm really critical of is like some of the ways that the monster works just didn't really make too much sense to me. And there were some scenes that I felt like could have been either dropped or shaved down a little bit. But in general, this is a nice look into a younger Bong Joon-ho. As you know from when we reviewed Parasite and Snowpiercer, I gave both of those movies a 5 out of 5, and I'm really excited to see what he has cooking next for his next movie. So like you can really see where he started to key in the style that he has. Like there's some shots that are just like really good. Like the one shot where they're Gang-do and his father are looking through the window at the monster, and the focus goes from Gang-do to the father's face. Like that's reminiscent of what he does now. And even though there wasn't like the whole movie wasn't like that, it wasn't as well shot as his newer stuff is. Yeah, you can still see glimpses of that genius that he has, that eye for camera angles and stuff like that that he has. So I really appreciated the movie a lot. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 as well.
All right. Yeah, I thought it was enjoyable. I did enjoy seeing the monster a lot, and I thought the ability to see the monster just in broad daylight and just didn't leave you wondering what they were running from, what they were looking for, that kind of stuff. That was nice. Unlike like Godzilla or something like that, those type of movies where you never see anything. I thought the acting was good. I thought kid actors, the main actors, they were all good in the movie. I do agree with Yemmy. Some of the fat needed to be trimmed down a little bit, and the monster just like his intentions weren't there. I don't know. It just didn't seem weird. Like going back to like that the where he didn't eat the girl after throwing the beer can at him. That kind of stuff. That stuff. And the ending, how the kid didn't die, or the kid died and the kid didn't die, just kind of, kind of scratches your head a little bit. But overall, I did have a fun with it, and I do agree with Ray about it not being like a jump scare horror, just kind of like a more of a thriller. But I originally gave it a 3, but I'm gonna raise it up to a 3.5 out of 5.
All right.
Okay. Well, it's the moment we've all been waiting for since All Dogs Go to Heaven. Ray has a recommendation for us. The first one on the podcast. What are you cooking?
So my recommendation, I had 3 that I was gonna pick from. Chose this one because I really love it a lot. I think it can bring lots of conversation. So my pick is Onward from 2020. It's a Disney animated movie. Teenage elf brothers Ian and Barley, they embark on a magical quest to spend one more day with their late father. Their journey is filled with cryptic maps, impossible obstacles, and unimaginable discoveries. It's very D&D-esque and is very entertaining and very heartwarming. So that is my pick.
Sounds good. Saw this, I think, when it first came to Disney Plus. So
Yeah.
okay, we're watching it again.
I'm excited.
And it stars.
Oh my gosh. It stars people
I'll cover it
Chris
for you.
Pratt.
that are
Yeah,
no.
Chris Pratt,
Hold
Tom
on.
Holland.
Hold on. This is my moment, you guys. You can't steal this moment from me.
Okay, sorry.
It stars Chris Pratt, Tom Holland, Octavia Spencer, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and Ali Wong.
Very good.
What was the name of the movie again? I missed it.
Onward.
Onward.
You can find it on Disney Plus, so don't use your Plex server and watch the wrong movie this time, okay? Old meme alert.
Oh, Plex.
I'll say
But,
might probably
yeah.
have access to it on Plex too.
I never watched this when it came out, so it'll be an interesting first watch.
Nice. I really like it, if you can't tell.
That's good.
And if you, the listener, don't want to be spoiled, or if you want to join the conversation for Onward from 2022, make sure you watch that before the next episode airs in 2 weeks. Also, don't forget that the fan vote is attached to this episode. So if you want to join in on that, either swing by my Twitter at Yemmy the Ferret to vote, or join in the Discord in the vote as well. And just as a reminder, and I'll probably say this again next time there's a fan vote, Twitter is being axed from the fan vote. So make sure you join the Discord if you want to continue voting. All right.
Is there a link in the description?
Yes, there's a link in
Okay.
all of my YouTube video descriptions with a never expiring Discord code.
So if you're listening to this on another platform, find it on YouTube to get that link.
Super easy. Just search Film Freaks on YouTube or Yemmy the Ferret
Film Freakz with the Z.
with a Z. That's right. Don't want to forget that.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else you guys want to mention before we end the show?
If you're feeling sick, mask up.
Yeah.
And
It's a good
picture
one.
cover your nose and mouth.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any small recommendations like Tay did last week?
Ooh.
Oh yeah. I don't even remember what my last recommendation was. Another movie, right?
Yeah, I don't remember either.
It was a movie. I don't have a recommendation this time.
Yeah, I have a small recommendation. It's a hard
Oh, it
one
was
to
a TV
find,
show.
but
That's
if you're able to, track down a 4K version of Stop Making Sense, the Talking Heads movie. It's excellent. It's a 5 out of 5. I wouldn't recommend it because it's so hard to find, but I was able to watch it in a theater, and it was an amazing experience. So,
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. My recommendation: if you like Star Trek, watch Lower Decks. It's good, and we don't want to have another situation where one of these big streaming corporations just cancels shows for tax reasons.
yeah. R.I.P. Batgirl. Am I right? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
we would have had
don't
Brendan
want that.
Fraser as Firefly. Like, how do they not put this movie? Yeah, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because they're greedy and horrible. So yeah, watch Lower Decks if you like Star Trek. If you don't like Star Trek, you probably won't enjoy it. But if you like Star Trek, you'll enjoy it.
Nice.
All right.
I don't really have anything. I mean, I'm sure there are some ladies that will listen to this podcast. So if you're looking for like a comfy show, definitely recommend Gilmore Girls.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
very
I
witty
recommend
and
that, too.
hilarious. I freaking love that show, man.
It's a great show.
It's my happy show. So
Mhm.
that's my recommendation.
Yes, mine would be if you like cooking shows. Hell's Kitchen is back,
Yeah.
and Kitchen
yeah.
Nightmares.
And Kitchen Night, yeah. 2 good shows. Gordon Ramsay.
Hell yeah.
You fucking donkey.
Also play Spider-Man 2. It's not poo.
Hey.
All right, y'all. I am Yemmy the Ferret, and I've been here with...
Greedy Waffles.
Taymation.
Rave positivity.
And this has been another episode of Film Freaks with a Z. Thank you for listening. So long.
Bye.
So long.
Bye.
Good night. Good luck.